Hello and welcome to another weekly market update after the market closed on 17th of May. So here's where we look at the big picture, longer term trend as well as the shorter term trends. We're aligned with everything for our investments and our trades. Here is a long-term chart of the S&P 500, which is kind of the benchmark we look at going back to the end of 2015. You see here the last few years. And that's what we called the last bull market using a proprietary system. Said to get out here, went to cash, here, and market bounced off of the cliff edge here and has been got above its key moving average here, which is that blue line here, smoothing out all this weekly up and down action. And over the last couple, I've been commentating on this rise here, and over the last couple of weeks, we see this couple of bumps down, which have had their moments that have certainly set off the mainstream press. But we're not, when we look at the big picture like this, we're not seeing anything other than a healthy correction. As you can see here, here's the 40-week moving average, and it always tends to revert back to the average. It gets ahead of itself and then just to calm down a bit, and then hopefully gets back on its way. I'm not saying anything to suggest something is broken in this rise, although the proprietary system still has me in cash because it still needs to prove itself after this drop here, which probably looks like we're maybe a month or so away from being able to call a brand new bull market, albeit founded on really, fundamentally speaking, nonsense. But we don't get in the way of a speeding train. We don't miss out on profit opportunities. So that's the big picture view. You can see the moving average here just starting to it's been rising. We'll be able to argue in a month's time. It's been rising for about 6 months here. This little kink's been put in it here. So this will be an important week to see, to make sure that it sort of levels off, which looks like it was starting to do at the end of last week. And here we see, if we look at zoom in on 6 months of action, we see the same thing here. This is day by day now, and here's that. We can see now it's and you can see on the daily chart much more clearly here that it bounced almost off of its. This is the 200-day, the 40-week line right there, which is the blue line on the other chart. You can also see what we're looking at here is this line of support. You can see there's a line of support here which shows this as being a healthy bounce. You can see it got above it, back over it, got above that line of resistance here, get above it, bounce back off of it, and then rise and then bounce off of it again. So it's a healthy situation that has because of its dramatic down days, which has been a characteristic of this market. It's just been one of those markets since 2016 when we called that bull market that just chugs along merrily, and out of the blue you'll have these violent drops. But that is the nature of this beast, and I suspect it's to do with the fact that people deep down suspect that it's not based on anything concrete. But there it goes, and we're not going to get in the way of it. And let's check in. There's some extraordinary actions been going. I've been commentating on the everyone's been saying Bitcoin's dead, but I've been focusing on this comeback story. And there it is on the big picture. There's that grinding drop. Here's where everyone's got excited. Everyone was buying in. As usual, everyone buys in at the top because everyone wants a consensus opinion. And then it's been grinding down ever since there, but found some ground here, some long-term support bouncing off there, you can see, and finally got its act together. And here was the big test. Could it get above and stay above its descending 40-week moving average? And it has done so with it in stellar fashion. And there it sits. And let's check in on the daily chart. And here we see the dramatic action here pushing above. See, these grey bars here. That means heavy volume. There's a lot of buying behind it, but there's also a lot of nervousness here. That's where we see these a lot of volatility around this zone right here. But that's what needs to happen. And in fact, we've just got here the first indication of a golden cross here. The 50-week average closes over the 200-day, which is a longer term bullish signal. But that's not going to be. I won't be surprised at all to see some further pullback and consolidation, which would only be healthy. So looking like so far, Bitcoin is back. That's the big story there. So that's all for this week, and I will speak to you next time.